Hi, everybody. So, last time we talked, I know it was sort of a lot of information to share and a whole story in my mind. And even though I had gone over how I would say it a million times, it didn't sort of work out that way. But now that we all know that the devil is in the details, I am over that icky feeling of knowing that I need surgery, that surgery is looming, and all that kind of like anxiety and buildup and things that we do to ourselves in times of important matters, that deadline. I've decided that's not for me. I've decided that I'm going to live in the solution, not the problem. In that vein, I have decided to share with you what I'm doing to mentally and physically prepare for surgery. Now, cataract surgery doesn't require an overnight stay. You just have to stay there a couple of hours. You're awake for most of the surgery. They give you a light sedative. And so you may fall asleep, you may not fall asleep. It's mostly just to relax your muscles. I know that they numb the eye. So I'm not really worried about pain. And pain, I have a really high pain tolerance. I don't know if it's just because of my experience with migraines or not. And I even don't get, when I get fillings at the dentist, I don't use Novocaine, and I can handle a lot of pain. So unless it's something really substantial, I've got it. And so I'm not worried about pain. I'm not really worried about the surgery itself. The thing that I've been most concerned with is it working. And of course, you want any surgery to work, and especially when it comes to vision. But it took me such a long time. I mean, like a week ago, to even wrap my head around that it will work. And this is not because I have a bad feeling about surgery or I'm trying to put a kind of horror on myself, as my Jewish friends would say. It's simply because in one day, more or less, I can go from the vision that I have now to perfect, nearly perfect vision. And that blows my mind because that's not been my experience. Not only my migraines, but small things, like I hurt my foot over the summer at the gym, and it's better, but it's still sort of requiring physical therapy, and me to take it sort of easy on it some days. I had the hardest time really accepting that it would be better, that this was just the one thing that I needed, that surgery would cure me, essentially. And it boggles my mind, and, while I knew I needed the surgery, and it's just become more and more evident to me every day because my vision is that bad and that impaired, rather, I just can't believe it. I've asked every doctor I've been to and every surgeon I've met and all the whole thing, and they're like, no, Donna, this is it. That's what it does. And I've learned to accept it, but I'm still sort of in that place of I can't believe that that's what's really going to cure me. It's a miraculous thing. It's a curious thing. But it might not be an immediate thing. And that's the other part of the story. I've been told, because my cataracts are so severe in both eyes, that in the interim, so they only do one eye at a time, and I've been told as long as everything goes well, I can have the second eye done within 3 to 4 weeks. Now, it doesn't sound like a long time, but that's the part that I'm the most anxious about, if I were to be anxious really about anything, besides it working, ultimately, is that time in between. I've been told that I could have depth perception problems because my cataracts are so severe. So what happens is I'm going to have perfect vision in one eye and very much not perfect vision in the other eye. And how your brain sort of adjusts to seeing, we're not really quite sure because it's different for everybody. So that was also very shocking for me because I feel like every time I go to the doctor, I'm learning something else that I have to sort of conquer. And that was hard for me, reaching out for things, maybe stares, maybe whatever. Certainly reading and writing, which is what I've been struggling with the entire time. But in some ways, this might be worse because of the confusion of having one eye good and one eye bad. And that is what I was struggling with the most. Ultimately, of course, I wish they could do both at the same time, but that's not going to happen. And so just seeing how I feel in the meantime, I've been told this by a lot of people, and I know that it's true, but it's sort of hard to wrap my brain around that I'm going to have to be patient. And let me be very clear, if you haven't picked it up from the first season of my chronic migraine life, patience is not my virtue. It sure ain't. I am a terribly impatient person, especially when it comes to things for myself. And, I had talked a lot in season 1 about my feeling like I've lost time and trying to make up for lost time for all the time that I was sick and stuff. And I've really moved past that. I've healed that part of it, the conversation. Except that I'm going to be waiting around once again. This 4-week period, I know that I really have to be kind to myself and not try to struggle, depending on how I feel. I'm going to have to really have some grace with myself, which is something I am practicing, trying on a daily basis, but is really a struggle for me. I'm going to have some patience with the process. I'm going to have to let my body really heal and do what it's capable of, because I know my body is capable of healing itself. It's been given a lot of challenges, and it's been doing the work. But just as I talked about in my 2020 video for season 2, we don't want things to take time, right? We want that instant gratification. And I feel like for surgery, I'm going to want that instant gratification. I put myself through this. I have to surrender to the process, which has also been very hard for me, and just let it be and let the control go. And that's going to take time. And while my vision might be cured, so to speak, instantly, because I have to wait for the other eye to be done, there's going to be this icky period, whether it's as bad as they're warning me or not. The other thing, of course, is my head. I purposely scheduled surgery a couple of weeks after my last Botox so that I knew that my head would have the most protection that it could have. But I'm worried about it because my sight and my concentration level have always been connected to my migraines. And even as far back as when my vision was better, the ability to see and concentrate has always come from my head. Now, when you have blinding pain, what feels like right here in the middle of your head, it's very hard to concentrate and read or want to read. So I have to work on that. The other part of it is that in the couple of years that my health has staggeredly been getting better and better, I finally got the life that I wanted. Mostly, anyway. I was working up to that. I fought tooth and nail to get to the place where I am right now. Where I can write whenever I want. I can do whatever I want. I can go whenever I want. Even if I haven't slept in the perfect circumstances and the perfect everything, my head's cooperating. So when my head cooperates, it's like flying. I feel like I can literally do anything. And so now that I was finally in that place, I felt like I was knocked down a step off my pedestal that I built myself with my blood, sweat, and tears, literally. And so that was the other thing. It wasn't just the shock, and it wasn't just the having to figure out what to do about it and where to get it done. It was the, don't get too comfortable where you are. Something's always around the corner. But in acknowledging that, I realized that I have to just really totally surrender. I'm trying to surrender to the will of letting these things be done to myself in order to better myself and to get back to a place not only where I was at, but even higher, right? I need the tools to get there. And so I'm trying to process all of this. And the best way for me to really process things is to picture it happening. So for a while now, I've been imagining mentally how to prepare for that day, what I will do, the bag I will take, because I'm not allowed to really carry anything heavy. And this first week after surgery is really going to be the most important. That's when they're really worried about infection and inflammation. And if anything's going to happen negative, it's going to happen in that first week, typically. So I'm really trying to picture the entire thing. And instead of living in the anxiety of the days leading up to it, I've sort of made a checklist for myself, right? I'm going to, for instance, wax my eyebrows so that I don't have to worry about anybody coming near my face for the next 6 to 8 weeks as I heal from both eye surgeries. I know that I'm going to change my sheets the night before. I know that I'm going to carry a very light bag that I will absolutely leave with my parents while I'm in surgery, of course, because I won't be able to lift anything heavy that first week, especially the first day. And you're not really advised to keep your head down too much. I guess the bleeding or pulling stitches or anything like that, they just want you to keep it easy. And I've always been practicing keeping my head above my heart anyway, because that always tended to make my head feel better. I know that I'm not going to be able to go to the gym for that first week, so I'm trying to get in as many sessions now as I can. I personally probably won't be cooking that week because a lot of bending and pulling, and I'm afraid that I will forget and do something stupid. So I'm letting myself cook as much as I want now. I thought that I would, up the week before surgery, be totally panicked and counting down, but I'm not really doing it that way. I'm counting down to getting surgery. I finally actually am in a place where I'm desperate to have it because my life has become so sort of miserable without it. I hate the daytime and the glare and the sun and trying to figure out, should I put the lights on in the house? Is that better? Is it worse? Can I see my computer? It's become a misery. The other day I used the analogy that it was like snow blindness. I watch a lot of shows about Mount Everest and skiers and stuff, and they wear goggles and special glasses because the pure white of the snow can quite literally blind you. And that's what I feel like every time the sun is out. It happens on other occasions in other rooms and other lightings and sometimes at night, but in the daytime it's the worst. And it's can be terrifying and certainly frustrating. And so I know that I need the surgery. So the next thing for me to do is to walk myself through it. I even go so far as to practice keeping one eye closed because it will be bandaged after surgery just for 24 hours. But for me, I need to visualize the steps. I need to visualize what it will feel like. I need to visualize and think through all the little things that I'm going to be unprepared for. I want to brace myself for the worst possible scenario. And then if things are even better than that, good for me. So I'm going to leave my clothes out for the next day because I have to go right back to the doctor's office. How am I going to wash my face without getting soap in my eye? I have makeup wipe removers. I'm going to use washcloths, all of these little things. I even got a pair of safety glasses, not goggles, but the glasses, because that way when I am back in the kitchen, this has never happened to me before, but splashing oil or anything going in my eye, I know is the enemy. And I'll be paranoid about it. And so for me to avoid the paranoia and anxiety, I need to feel prepared. I need to feel like I've thought of everything. And while I appreciate that this is not everybody's, way of doing things and that they think I'm overthinking it, for me, that relaxes me. Being in a place of control and a situation where you have no control has always calmed me. Always. That's why when I pack my bag full of snacks and I have my pills and my water, I'm ready always to deal with my head. And now I have to feel that way about my eyes for a little while. And so while I don't want to be the patient again, I am going to lean on the support that I have and the help that I have and appreciate it this time and know that I am being the patient for a very small, specific period of time. And I'm already not driving and stuff, so it's just a little bit extra. I, was trying to decide if feeling like the cataract surgery was a part of my chronic migraine life or not. And obviously it is because I'm pretty sure it resulted from the things I did to cure myself of my chronic migraines. But regardless, it's a separate journey. And I'm a different person now that I am at the beginning of my eye journey than I was at the beginning of my head journey, so to speak. And so I'm going to take those lessons that were very hard fought to learn and apply them. And these are the things that I'm doing to really ready myself. I also decided that it would be a really good idea, going with that whole living in the solution, not the problem idea, to make a list of the things that would get better because of surgery, right? Now, they're all obvious, but something about writing them down, especially, I guess, because I am a writer, felt empowering about that. And so I wanted to share that list with you. of all the things that I'm going to be looking forward to once both of my eyes have healed from their surgery. Okay, so here goes. I actually wrote it down, and I think I know it off the top of my head. I'm going to read it to you anyway. The first thing is driving. Since I'm 16 and first got my license, I don't think I've ever been more eager to drive since that time. I complained about it, the parking, the dragging crap in and out of the car, but I miss driving. I miss driving because I miss the freedom. Now, I live in Brooklyn, as you can see. I can walk pretty much anywhere if I had to. However, the weather is not always ideal. Even with sunglasses, the glare outside is bad, and I have that bum foot we talked about. Not making excuses, but something about getting in the car and being able to drive. Not even in around my neighborhood, but to visit people or family or friends, or just liberating. The freedom, I miss it. I also decided that I've really missed grocery shopping solo. I used to do that pretty often, and because I'm a self-taught cook, and I like to cook dinner especially, I miss grocery shopping solo and just taking my time and going down all the aisles, also when the store's less crowded earlier in the day, and just being, driving through Starbucks and getting my daily caffeine. Although I make a pretty good latte myself, not the same thing. It's the knowing that you can't do it that makes you want it more, right? Like, it's like being on a diet and someone tells you can't have Oreos. Now, only thing that you want to eat is an Oreo. And that's sort of what it feels like. Knowing I can't drive is just bothering me. It is better now, though, being out in the open that I can't drive, because there was that little period where I was still driving and it was sort of getting iffy, and being out and open about that I can't see and I'm having trouble and I'm struggling, also very freeing. So driving, I am definitely also going to the gym solo. Pretty much just being able to take myself where I want to go when I want to go. Reading. Across the board, but especially recipes, and especially in bed. I miss reading in bed before I fall asleep a lot. I haven't done that in a really, really long time. The last time I tried was about a month ago, and I had to hold the book up like this, just the right light, and sit up straight, and quite frankly, it was exhausting to my eyes and my head to have to struggle that hard at it. And I did. I had to really concentrate, and if I lost my place, forget it. I have several lights in my bedroom. I've changed them all. I've played around with the lighting situation, and it's not good. It's because it's my eyes. And so I really miss being able to read, to fall asleep or relax, or even write. I struggle a great deal to use my laptop in bed, again, because of the lighting. And even though that's typically at night, my eyes are now in a place where they're bad in just about any kind of light. Usually it was just yellow lights or stuff that triggered my head, but now because my eyes have this film growing over them, over part of the lens where you see out of, it doesn't matter. It's a struggle all of the time. And every time you try to do something that you normally do with ease, that you can no longer do with ease, you're reminded that you're a sick person, that something is wrong with you. And that's also very upsetting. So while you get to be in a good place about what's next steps, you're always reminded. And so in some ways, you're always having to re-acknowledge where you are, and there's no way to not think about it. In other words, there's no way to just let it go and forget, because it's constant. It's constant. It was constant for me. Even like a few months ago, I went to the gym to burn off stress, and there were TVs on some of the cardio machines, but because of the light near the window, I couldn't see the TV. And so while I'm there to try to burn off stress and not think about things, my foot hurt. I can't see. Like there's no escaping it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm in the shower, and let's pretend I want to read the shampoo bottle. I don't have to. But the glare coming in from the window, like, it's everything. It's everywhere. And so, in a lot of ways, losing a part of my vision was a lot different than the constant pain that I used to be in with my head. Because at least when the pain broke, for the most part, aside from the hangover symptoms of feeling tired or jittery or whatever from my medication and stuff and pain, I was able to forget about it, at least for a few minutes. And this is not that way, and that's been really challenging too. Next on my list is write, and underneath that I wrote capital letters everything. Writing everything, everywhere, whenever I feel like it, without having to be in a certain spot and being limited to be frame. Writing is my real one true passion, my most favorite passion, I should say. And having to accommodate my eyes has been a pain in my butt, ironically enough. And so I'm really looking forward to catching up on a lot of writing. I'm behind on a lot of things, and that bothers me a great deal. And I guess knowing that after that first surgery, you want to catch up on all that stuff, but I still have to wait for the second surgery and then have some little more patience with the second eye too. I have to give that eye a chance too, because by that point the first eye will have healed a great deal, and you can't put too much pressure on that eye. That you have to give each its own healing time. It is two separate surgeries, and that's how I'm looking at it, even though they're the same, because they both need equal attention and love and healing. I have on here cooking, baking, looking at old recipes, all that kind of stuff that sort of really, this holiday season, made me acknowledge how bad my eyes had become. And just wanting to be free in the kitchen. The kitchen is another really great passion of mine, and cooking, and I just can't wait. I can't wait till I could type my cookbook without any qualms and contingencies, and it's going to be great. The other thing is I was gifted this holiday season a cooking class at the Culinary Institute in Manhattan, and I purposefully have been waiting to cash in that class because I cannot read the pamphlet that came with the gift card or the website with ease, and I want to be able to. And more importantly, I want to be able to go to that class and enjoy it, and of course see anything and not have that panic. So I'm super excited about what this spring is going to hold, and cooking class is for sure one, if I could just decide what it is that I want to take first. The other thing is something I just alluded to, is confidence and not being afraid that I can't see. And that, it's not just the cooking class, it's everything. I went to physical therapy for my foot a couple of months ago for the first time, and having to fill out the paperwork, I couldn't see the way that the lighting was coming in the window, the way that the fluorescent lights were hanging above me. That fear of not being able to see something. It's gone from a place of frustration to a place of actual fear, because there's danger in that. It's silly, but something like, what if I got mugged? I couldn't even make out the person's face to describe to the police if it was under a street light at nighttime. Not being able to read directions if I'm home alone and I had to take a pill for some reason. Because even though I take a picture, I could zoom in on my phone, you can look in it. The magnifying isn't what's the problem with my eye, so that doesn't help. And so, in a lot of scenarios, I'm essentially blind. I know it sounds like I'm being dramatic, but I'm not, actually. And that's been beyond frustrating. It's been terrifying. I don't like that. And it's unnecessary, and that's, of course, why I'm getting the surgery. But in the interim, again, it's the re-acknowledging every time something else happens. You're like, oh, shit, I can't do that. Oh, I can't see that. Oh, that's a problem. Faking it when you're talking to other people. That whole disguised that I have an invisible illness, yet again, a second one, except that this one's actually attacking my vision, which is interesting because it's literally making things invisible to my eye. And it's just bizarre. It's bizarre. The body is strange. And there are so many parts on us, and there are so many things that can go wrong. The list goes on, and if you ever really stop to think about it, you'd probably never get out of bed. But we're living in the solution, nonetheless. The last thing on my list is something that I just realized recently, and it's going to sound crazy. When I talked season 1, episode 6, I believe, about my Botox, I alluded to, well, actually, I probably said it outright, that I take myself to Botox. And there have been times in the past where I really, really wish I could have someone take me. But of course, it doesn't always work out. People have schedules. Botox is done during the week. And Now that my doctor has changed from the Bronx, she's moved upstate. It's an even further drive for me. And sometimes it would just be nice to, after you got shot with 41 needles, have somebody else in the car with you for company, for companionship, and maybe not to have to drive. However, I had my father take me to Botox 2 weeks ago because I can't drive. And I realized how much I wish I could have taken myself. In that moment, knowing that I couldn't take myself, that I needed to help, also bothersome. I like to be able to do everything by myself. I'm an incredibly independent person, and that annoys the crap out of me that I can't. But what I realized about the Botox in particular is I've created this little ritual for myself. I made it okay for myself. I am really good at making things okay for myself. Part of it is because I visualize the steps through things and then try to maybe overthink it, but try to rationalize it or find the good or whatever it is that I can make it okay for myself. Well, this sucks, but getting 41 shots to the head and neck blows. However, I will ultimately feel better because of it. And not only that, if I take myself, back when I used to really be fatter and sweatier because of the drugs, I could keep the car on as cold as I want. Now, if everybody complain that they're freezing, I can blast my 90s era rap music as loud as I want. Nobody's going to complain. I can stop and get whatever inappropriate fast food item I want as a reward. I'm going to have several coffees that day. Again, calorie count doesn't matter, neither does cost. I'm going to reward myself for taking care of myself by doing all the things that I want to do. I'm going to binge every true crime documentary out there. Maybe rewatch seasons of Criminal Minds. I do this on a semi-daily basis anyway, but I'm going to indulge myself emotionally. And whatever I feel takes the edge off being in pain for the next however many days. It may seem childish to do that, but it was the only way I could get through it all these years. And I've come to really rely on the rituals that I've comprised of myself for the day. Because while I've been getting Botox for almost 7 years now, I still have some anxiety about it. It's still a fairly serious medical procedure. And just because it went well in the past doesn't mean that there won't be some anomaly, some side effect, that something can go wrong, or that it won't hurt worse or have a different side effect symptom. Things can still happen. And so I need to indulge myself in all the other ways. Like, I am putting myself through this today. Nothing else matters. All the other daily stress, I'll worry about that tomorrow. I'll make those phone calls tomorrow. I'll take care of it tomorrow. It's Botox day. So Botox has become a symbol of the best and worst parts of my chronic migraine life, ironically. And I miss taking myself. I miss having that time to contemplate whatever it is and let my mind wander wherever it goes. And so I really, really miss that. So I have a lot to look forward to. And I feel like each time I do it, I get some piece of me back. The things on the list that haven't even occurred to me. I'm going to be that much more proud of myself. That I didn't let myself suffer a minute longer than I had to. That I took the brave step, that I surrendered to the process, that I let myself feel and heal and do whatever it needed to do in order to get through it. And that is what I'm most looking forward to. So I will be sure to update everybody as my next part of this journey continues. And I've been teasing people, and I'm always very self-deprecating, but now I'm doing it to other people. I'm saying, you might want to pretty yourself up once I can sleep clearly. I don't want to be surprised or scared. So I will keep you guys apprised of my journey until next time.